It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Many thanks for watching. Of course, we should have had this interview on Friday, but we're playing back this interview at this time because we could not bring this particular interview to you on Friday, and we're glad to have a guest in the house this morning, and together we'll be taking a look at exploring the richness of Nigeria's tourism industry. And of course, I'm sure for her, it's a nostalgic feeling coming back into the premises and into the studios here this morning. We're glad to have in the studio, of course, she's a broadcaster herself. And you know, there's this thing about broadcasters. Once you're in it, you're always in it. You never retire from this job. And so we're glad to have the former Director General of the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation with us here today, Mrs. Omotayo Omotosho, MFR. Thank you for being here today on the program.
You're welcome, Bimbola. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And Joy too.
Yeah, no.
Good to see you.
Quickly tell us, how nostalgic do you feel today?
That's a good question to start. Very, very nostalgic. And I'll tell you why. When my driver was driving into the premises, lots of reminiscence, lots of memories. I remember my very good and very dynamic general manager, television, Jimmy Odumosu. And same dynamic and diligent GM radio, Lekon Gumbanwo, coming to receive me the very first time I was going to resume as chairman board of directors. It was very, very interesting. We had a beautiful experience working together. Then we were called Lagos State Broadcasting Corporation. It used to be LTV and Radio Lagos. But then under the military administration of General Buba Marwa, he appointed me chairman governing board. He matched the two together and gave us marching order to be able to complete the Eco FM project. That was a huge task we had to accomplish. I remember him telling me, Chairman, Eco FM project had become a white elephant project. He resumed. I got to know that it'd been on and on for about 9 years, uncompleted. And I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And by God's grace, we did. So it's a beautiful, beautiful set of memories. If I continue talking about it.
I'm sure we won't talk about anything else here. All right. But for you, I mean, I'm sure you still keep a tab on, you know, the activities of both television and radio. Are you pleased by what you hear?
And what I see.
And what you see.
Thank you, Bimbola. With LSBC, it's getting better by the day.
Right.
So I'm pleased.
You're pleased.
With LSBC, it's getting better by the day. Looking at the television radio industry, generally, it could be better.
Right.
It could be better because these days you get to see young presenters on television presenting one program or the other, but they've not been given the required training. Required training. There's some ethics that we learned when we were starting in television some 40 years ago. I started in 1985 as a youth corper with the Nigerian Television Authority, Ibadan. And I recall Uncle Bodi Alalade, may his soul rest in peace. It was a head of presentation. He would tell us you cannot afford to giggle or move or be looking at your MCR when you're supposed to be at attention. Because by the time the camera is on you, the world is on you. And we were so conscious of that. So even if a fly
flew on your face, you knew that,
you dare not.
That's it.
You dare not say you want to remove a fly. Well, you see these days, you know, a lot of comportment, very, very, very important. And then also punctuality. As a presenter, you're supposed to be on the news, so time. You must be there 30 minutes, 1 hour before the time, exactly, to get yourself ready. I wouldn't blame the youngsters that we see these days that are not well trained. I'll blame the TV stations, the entrepreneurs, those that set up the stations for not giving them the adequate training. And you could ask me, what am I doing in my own spare? By God's grace, I've taken it up upon myself for those that are very, very interested to learn. I do give training on presentation at no cost.
At no cost. So that's you
Giving back.
Giving back.
Giving
All right. I'm sure that if we dwelled on,
that would be the topic for today.
That probably will be all that we would discuss today. But I guess at some point in time, we should actually bring you back to also help us look at how we can get better on the job and some of the things that you wish, to see as changes on air.
Anytime at all.
All right. So that's it. Definitely.
You'll definitely
knock
on my doors.
We will hold you on to that. So let's go into today's topic, because on the program today, we want to take a look at exploring the richness of Nigeria's tourism industry. And of course, because Mrs. Omotosho has also been there at the helms of affairs of a particular agency in Nigeria saddled with this responsibility, would also like to share in our wealth of experience. When we talk about tourism, a lot of people look at Nigeria and think that, okay, what does Nigeria really have to offer in this space? But we do also know that industry is one industry that we have not tapped into yet because of its resourcefulness. But for you, when we look at tourism, what does this really mean?
Thank you.
What does it really mean?
Thank you very much. Very good question, Bimbo. Tourism is holistic. Tourism is life. And your question is very apt because a lot of people feel tourism has to do with tourist sites. When they're talking of tourist sites, they will say Nigeria is not ready. They'll say, how many sites do you have?
Right?
But tourism goes beyond that. Nigeria is more than ready.
Okay.
Yes, we have tourist sites that needs to be overhauled. We have some that have been developed. We'll remember that of Obudu Tourist Ranch. I don't know the situation it is today, but at the time we were there, it was a hub even for Miss World, the most beautiful girl in the world, and her beauty queen counterparts. When they came to Nigeria, they came to Calabar. I took them there and they were amazed. I recall Agbani Daregu saying on the phone when she got to the hilltop on Obudu, that you wouldn't believe where I am. I'm 2,000 meters above sea level. That's amazing. I don't know what Obudu is now. We have Arugugu Fishing Festival. That's a tourism product. We have Osun Osogbo. We have the Black Heritage Festival in Lagos. I desperately want our governor to bring it back.
Right.
It was originated by Governor Bola Tinubu at that time.
Right.
By God's grace, our president today. And there was a beautiful thing where you had a lot of tourists coming in from America, from Brazil, to participate, not just to watch, to participate in the Black Heritage Festival, which is a signature tune for tourism in Lagos State at that time. And I know Governor Sanwo-Olu is a very pragmatic person. Himself and I will talk about this. We need to bring it back. And leaving Lagos, we have the, what do you call it, Yankari National Park. In Bauchi, we have the Dobbers in the core north. That's talking of tourist sites and attractions. So basically, tourism goes beyond that. If anybody tells me that Nigeria is not ready for tourism, I argue it. I say, no, it's because you're looking at tourism sites. You're looking at locations. Come to Lagos and you'll see what tourism is about. It's not as if Lagos has gotten it 85% or 90%, but with a vision, with a focus, and the leadership of the governor, we're getting there. The Dirty December is an eye-opener. A lot of my friends outside the country came for the Dirty December, and they told me, Madam Tourism, I'm coming back again. I'm coming back again. Our songs, our folklores, our Nollywood, our attires, that's fashion tourism. I'm coming there. Our folklores, our attires, fashion tourism, our Nollywood actors and actresses, we call that entertainment tourism. When you talk of entertainment tourism, Lagos is ready. When you talk of cultural tourism, Lagos is it. When you talk of fashion tourism, Lagos is it. When you talk about culture, just name it. And I will tell you what we lack. We all have this, but are they well promoted? In a way, I'm promoting it now for Nigerians to know that Lagos is ready. Let all other state governments follow suit. But Lagos has not desperately and deliberately been promoting we have the potentials,
Right.
and we're doing what we need to do. But what is lacking is a concerted effort
Okay.
of bringing tourism practitioners and professionals like us, my colleagues, myself, and ministry, and tourism communities.
Okay.
What do I mean by tourism communities? Tourism starts from the grassroots. That's what we call domestic tourism.
Okay.
I'm glad that the governor is a listening governor. And I'm sure he's going to watch this as well. He's a listening governor. I'm aware now that they've set up tourism officers attached to specific local governments
areas,
in Lagos State. That's the way to go. I'd been talking of this. I talked it on all, what do you call it, various media that interviewed me. And I'm happy that Lagos are taking tune. Yeah. Let other states do same. What happens when you have local government tourism officers? They will work together with the ministry. The ministry will work together with practitioners, those of us in the private sector. It is a holistic stakeholders' responsibility. Tourism cannot be done alone by state government.
Sure. There has to be that collaboration.
And we call it synergy.
Right, synergy.
Very, very key.
Right. You've mentioned one of the challenges that is hindering us from fully harnessing tourism here. But again, I want us to look at some other challenges that, has hindered us from fully harnessing tourism in the country.
Well, one major factor, we must face the fact, is the issue of insecurity. But I dare say that as much as we have a president that is working so hard to achieve a better Nigeria for every one of us, a president that gets it, because he was once a governor of Lagos State, and I worked directly with him on Black Heritage Festival. I came with my tourism officials to pay courtesy call on him in Lagos State at the Alausa there, and we sat together with his Commissioner for Tourism, Hakeem Gbajabiamila. He was Commissioner for Tourism and Waterfront, and we came up with the Black Heritage Festival, and we went to town with it. And saying to town is we went to the world. It wasn't just within Nigeria. And it became a beautiful tourism product done every year throughout the tenure of the then governor, Bola Tinubu, by God's grace, our president now, continued by the governor that took over from him for a long time. I recall that at that time, we still have some teething problems like tourism infrastructure. But the issue of insecurity was not this accentuated.
Right.
Nigeria was relatively secured at that time. So when we talk of the bane of tourism promotion, the problem we're having has to do with, number one, insecurity. And I must use this medium to appeal to Nigerians, especially warring factions, opposition parties that do not want the present day administration at the federal level to thrive, to succeed. They should sheath their sword. We should join our hands together, because the issue of insecurity, if you look holistically and you look deeply into what's going on, it's politicized. As much as we have a president that is working so hard, the wife praying so well to make sure that this administration impacts Nigeria positively, and the entire cabinet doing their best, we have those that are pulling them down. And it saddens me.
Right.
Because I keep on wondering, and people say it when I travel, Ms. Omotosho, that Nigeria of yours, I don't know, you're so proud of Nigeria, you're always flying the flag of Nigeria, but the more your president is working hard and you say it means well for Nigeria, the more people are trying to pull him down, sabotaging. What's going on? Are they enemies of progress? There are people that don't even want Nigeria to move forward because they're benefiting from chaos, and insecurity. So I'm using this medium to appeal to every Nigerian, regardless of which party you belong to. I'm a professional. I'm not a politician.
Right.
So I don't belong to
The
any
unity
party.
of the country is
Exactly.
more paramount.
Thank you. The benefit, the beauty, and the progress of the country is more paramount. Let us all join hands together to support the present day government
Okay.
If God didn't have a hand in it, he wouldn't have gotten there.
This way.
So we should take note from that.
So if we harness properly, what tourism actually has the potential of doing, then we know that also economically we're able to profit from tourism in Nigeria. So how do we begin to harness those opportunities if indeed Nigeria is also going to be part of, the gross domestic product input of the country, if we're to use tourism also to drive the economy of Nigeria?
Yeah, I must say that we have started. I'm aware of some tourism attraction programs that has been done, not even in Lagos State alone, in some other states. But as I've always said, if we don't promote what we have, nobody will know nor appreciate what we have. There's a particular one. I was out of the country then, but when I got back, I got to see that it was held. I want to make reference to Fanti, the Fanti Carnival.
During Easter.
During Easter. I was away, but I saw it on the and I was happy. What's about the Fanti Carnival? The old Brazilian quarters, family. Our brothers and sisters that were sold into slavery, they all came back, and we had this Fanti Carnival in Lagos that is promoting domestic tourism.
Right.
How well advertised, how well marketed, how well publicized was this? I wouldn't know. I did get a wing of it because I'm in tourism.
Right.
So it was a tourism protege of mine that quickly prepared my mind. Oh, mommy, you need to watch this, blah, blah, blah. I'll send you the video clips and all. It gladdens my heart that Lagos State is doing that. Talking of how do we harness all these to impact our GDP,
Right.
I expect our Ministry of Tourism in all the states of the Federation to be working with the federal, we call it Federation Tourism Practitioners of Nigeria, the FTN, we call them FTN, work with them, and with that FTN covers the private sector, and with the Federal Office of Statistics. I did that while I was there. So as a chief executive of tourism, it's not enough for you to just sit in the comfort of your office and say you're promoting tourism. You need to go out. As a commissioner of tourism, you must leverage, you must have a synergy, you must have a good interpersonal relationship with tourism practitioners, especially those that have made names in the industry, and they can advise and put you through in terms of what you need to do to accentuate what you are doing. The Federal Office of Statistics, the chief executive at that time, and I became friends.
Okay.
I sat down and I asked myself, how do I impact Nigeria in this sector? It's not enough for me to go on the face of television and be saying, oh, Nigeria is the best place to be. Come and have a beautiful blend of all the various tourism products we offer. That's good, but that would not bring butter and bread to the table of Nigerians. The Federal Office of Statistics worked so closely with us that they were giving us inventory of tourism visitors, which means business tourism, conference tourism, and leisure tourism.
All coming into Nigeria.
All coming to Nigeria. Because we also chose to work with the Nigerian Immigration Service.
Okay.
That doesn't
Just to quickly
happen
chip that in, how about
anymore.
our visa policy? Is it helping?
It is.
Especially with the new Minister of Interior and also dynamics that are being put in place by the ministry, especially visa on arrival policy and some other things. Do you think that we're doing well in that respect?
We are. That's why we kept on nodding before you finish your question, because I knew what you wanted to say. Yeah, we're doing well. I recall this visa on arrival was initiated during my tenure.
Okay.
I went to see the Interior Minister. I went with my crew to see the, we call them Controller General,
of
exactly, of the
immigration.
services, Nigeria Immigration at that time. And I told them that the only way you can help us promote what we are doing is for us to work in synergy.
Right.
A lot of visitors want to visit my country, they've heard us marketing Nigeria as the only place to be in Africa, because we attended a lot of tourism exhibitions and fiestas outside the country to market our nation. And we give them visuals of what they need to see. Yeah, it's not just verbal. So they were ready to come. But I said, they tell me, ma'am, yes, want to come to Nigeria, but the visa issue is always a problem. You get to the embassy, they give you
some dates that you can't meet up with.
So I said, don't worry. So I worked with every sector that I needed to work with to promote the industry. So we had the immigration service, we had the customs, we had the environment ministry working with us, we had the health ministry, education, because there's what they call health tourism, education tourism. That's why we say tourism is life. So you cannot just sit in one place and think by just doing your regular schedule, you're promoting tourism. No, tourism is an interpersonal relationship sector. You must make a deliberate effort to synergize with everyone. And that's why we came up with even the Presidential Council on Tourism. It became a passion for me that I went to see my minister, and I told my minister, as DG minister, we owe it to Nigerians to go convince the president that we must set up a Presidential Council on Tourism, because you're Minister for Tourism and Culture. You are not in charge of environment. You are not in charge of health. You are not in charge of education. You are not in charge of some other, even national orientation. You're not in charge of it. So we need the president to constitute the PCT. We call it Presidential Council on Tourism Promotion, on tourism development. And we did. And that made it so easy. Because at that council, we were meeting just once every 6 months. Because the position of a president is a very, very demanding position. He wouldn't have the time to be presiding over. So you already told, okay, Madam Tourism Minister, you've made a good point. Okay, let's get started. And it wasn't just government.
The private sector
active private sector participant. And that was why the Federal Office of Statistics gave me regular data on the traffic inflow to Nigeria. And it has recorded the highest number of tourists since that time till today. It has not been broken. We want to break it. We must break that.
Okay, we are a people of rich culture over here in Nigeria, and you called it domestic tourism, right? So how are we doing well enough in marrying our culture and tourism together? I also wanted to look at how cultural tourism has evolved over the years. I remember the last Oju de Oba festival broke the internet. You know? Yeah, and so we have Osun Osogbo, we have Eyo festival here in Lagos, and so many other festivals. So I'd like you to look at how it has evolved over the years.
Thank you, Joy. It has evolved so amazingly, I'll say that. But we could always do better. You made mention of Oju de Oba, Eyo festival, Osun Osogbo, and all that. Yes, it's become our how would I put it now? Our way of life. But I don't want a situation where it is only during Oju de Oba you will see Nigerians in their best African cultural attires. Why can't we wear it every day? I love what you're wearing. When she was asking me, I love what you're wearing, the top.
Thank you.
God saved you that you didn't wear it. I would have abused you. I would have taken it personal because I'm old enough to be your mother.
Oh, definitely.
I said, this is not what I was teaching at LSBC some years ago. What's going on? But I love what I see. I love what I see. So go back to the question, sweetheart. We want a situation where the lovely Ashoke, Ankara, Adire, batik, all the things that are made in Nigeria can be a, how would I put it now, more like an official outfit. How many times do you see Governor Sanwo-Olu in suit?
In suit, sure.
It's always in traditional. How many times do you see the president? How many times do you see the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun? He promotes cultural tourism so well. And of course, his babas did the same thing. Former presidents and all, they're all in traditional, made in Nigeria outfit. Our own current president now, I'd never seen him in
In
suit.
suit.
I have, but maybe once when many years ago. Not lately.
Not in recent times.
Exactly, not in recent times. He's so proud to promote the Nigeria that he heads and he presides as president. But it amazes me when I see Nigerians in suit, especially in the banking and finance industry.
Right.
And in the IT, you see them, but not as much. Often the time you see them in jeans and T-shirt. But instead of the T-shirt could be made like what you're wearing, sweetheart. The Ankara.
The Ankara.
Thank you, the Ankara, the Adire.
There are a lot
On
of
top.
suits that people make
with
with
Adire.
Exactly, and we've evolved. See the wife of Oni of Ife, my beautiful Aderonke. Aderonke promotes African culture and fashions. And she doesn't just promote it by what she wears. She has a big factory in Ile-Ife that she just recently opened. I didn't know. She called me. I said, Mommy, Madam Tourism, you need to come and see. I went out of my way, as busy as I am, to spare the time to travel from Abuja to Lagos, from Lagos to Ife. And I was amazed.
Right.
So going back to what we need to do, we need more promotion. And we don't have to spend money on promotion. They say charity begins at home, individually.
Right.
Let's start promoting by what we wear,
Okay.
by our outlook. Oju Dioba is always beautiful. Everybody talks about it. I know quite a lot of people come from all over the world to witness it. And that's where you will see a beautiful competition of lovely fabrics and African, what do you call it, fashion on display. But we don't want it to be segmented. Thank you.
Just during the festivities.
Alone.
Right.
Wherever I go, even abroad, do you know when I'm traveling, this is the way I
Your
dress.
signature, especially the gay.
And you see the immigration officer at the borders in the United States. Say, oh, you look touristic, you look African. I said, touristic, oh, that's my sector.
Right.
That's you.
Let's quickly go to the issue, because I know you're big on us putting it out there, what we are capable of in the tourism sector. Do we also begin to look at the tourism calendar? Because a lot of people are advocating that perhaps could also make you plan for the year ahead, if you have an idea of what it will be like, the catalog for the whole year. So March, in January. Now everybody knows Dirty December is in December. Anyway. So do we also begin to look at perhaps each state or as a country
have a tourism calendar.
have a tourism calendar, so the diaspora can actually plan ahead and
That's
see
very
what
key.
they can plan towards for the year.
That's very key, Bimbola. Hearing you mention tourism calendar reminds me of what I did while I was in tourism, because we came in at a time where Nigeria was called a pariah state. I was appointed Chief Executive Tourism in 2000, and you knew of the military rule that lasted for so long till 1999. So I was appointed early 2000, and being a pariah state, tourism became a very, very hard sell for me to market. So I sat down with my operatives in the office, some of them coming from private sector. I wanted a combination of seasoned public servant and private sector to work with me. And by God's grace, there were openings at that time. So they came in and we put heads together, and we realized for us to be able to promote tourism, regardless of Nigeria government not having enough resources at that time to fund all the sectors, we must be able to think outside the box.
There's no box anymore anyway.
So you think. It depends on which prism you are looking at it from, my dear. From the prism I'm looking at it, box still exists.
Right.
You must think outside the box. If you don't think outside the box, you just sit down and say, hey, the government is not funding us. So what do? I'll tell Nigerians that we don't have money to do tourism calendar. I'll tell Nigerians that we don't have money to promote tourism. I couldn't tell Nigerians that because I got a pedigree. I got a name I'd made in the broadcast industry. And tourism is all about promotion and marketing. That explains why I found myself there as tourism DG. Go market our assets and our attractions. And yet, no financial backup because there wasn't much in the treasury. The president explained to all of us at that time, go and think outside the box. Okay, sir, no problem. So we got back, and on the table in my office, we have this long table like a boardroom. All of us sat down, and it occurred to us that we must develop public-private sector partnership for tourism development. So we call it CPTD, corporate partners for tourism development. With the CPTD, we came up with a tourism calendar.
Okay.
To go back to your question, because we realize all our clientele, all our target audience that we're looking at outside Nigeria, they want to know, where's your tourism calendar? So that took me to the 36 states of the Federation, Bimbola. And I wasn't going every day because I still had work to do in Abuja. But if you're proactive and you know what to do, you're resourceful, you plan it. So why did I go to those 36 states? I needed to see the governors for them to tell me their tourism calendar, their tourism plan. A lot of them didn't have a tourism calendar at that time, but they called their tourism commissioners and we
developed one.
Exactly, and we held meetings. And I sent some of my staff to train some of their officers in the states that were just setting up a tourism board, because they didn't even have a tourism board then.
At that time.
And we worked together. And they came with the priorities of tourism attractions and tourism sites that they've developed or they're about developing to get ready for visitors coming from outside the country, which we call international tourists. So with the tourism calendar that we got from the states that were ready, I must confess that not all states were ready for tourism at that time, because they believe it takes a long gestation period. But it takes a visionary governor to realize this is the way to go. Lagos State kidding at that time. Cross River under Governor Donald Duke, kidding. Bauchi under Muazu, who later became president of another party. Muazu, kidding. The governor of Kebbi, who is now Senator Alero, kidding.
Right.
The governor of Kaduna, a lot of them. We had about 10. And I said, if I got 10, I'm ready to run.
go.
So with all the inputs that came, that's why tourism cannot be done by DG in Abuja, sitting in Abuja. You must go out.
Like politics is local.
Thank you. It has to be local. If you want, what do you call it, impact and effect. So with all that, we came back to the drawing board in Abuja. And her nest, we sat down and itemized the tourism calendar products they've given us, what they want to promote, and now put it on the tourism calendar of the National Tourism Agency. So it's not everything they gave us that we took. We took the mega ones, the ones that we call low-hanging fruits, and we went to town with it. I went with that tourism calendar to heads of multinationals, chief executives of banks, to partner with us to promote tourism. See, I told you that they didn't give us enough money. And I don't want to be telling Nigerians that it's because we're not well funded. So when people tell me that they're not well funded, it nauseates me. So can't you think outside the box? You should be resourceful enough to know. You must be creative. And so with that, we were able to get a lot of support from the private sector. Do you believe that with our tourism calendar, and that's why I said that was an important question, it made it so easy for chief executive. We had Tony Elumelu. Tony supported us a great deal, from Standard Trust Bank to UBA. We had Otege Emero. He supported us. We had Joe Aje Kigbe, First Bank. We had the managing director of Mobile at that time. We had a lot of Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians that want tourism to thrive and they know that it is a very high generator.
A high turnover.
Exactly, high generator of revenue. They knew that. So with that support, they said, Omotayo, don't worry, you can't fail. You've given us your tourism calendar, we will sponsor.
Right.
So they kept on sponsoring all our tourism attractions and tourism events that everybody kept on seeing us on TV, media and all that. They were wondering, government says they don't have money. So where did they get money from?
All right, we know that we are not fully tapping into all that we should in the tourism sector. But again, the little ones that we have, how do we ensure sustainability now?
Sustainability is key. I would say that for us to get to Nigeria being recognized as a tourism-ready nation, we would be looking at intentional, aggressive, deliberate tourism promotion, for us to now to be able to be thinking of sustainability. We cannot be talking of sustainability if we have not stretched ourselves with the least of what God has bestowed us with, promoting them religiously to the outside world. We cannot. We need more promotion and marketing of Osun Osogbo Festival, which is now a United Nations World Heritage Site. And when I say now, it's not even now.
It's been
Exactly. Some 20, 25 years ago, it's become a United Nations World Heritage Site. How much publicity and emphasis do we place on that? The Black Heritage Festival in Lagos State. Lagos State is doing what we call promoting tourism infrastructure, which is good. And that's why I said I'll give kudos to our governor. The tourism basic infrastructure is transportation. The red line, the blue line, the green that's coming. Very, very important. You cannot promote tourism without transportation. And so when I was there, I worked with the transport minister. I was everywhere. And they could see so much passion. And so they couldn't lag behind. No, they joined me. So we must do the same. Synergy is important, going back to the point. Sustainability is key. But for us to get to the level of thinking of how to sustain what we got, have we marketed them enough? Have we packaged them? She talked about tourism calendar. How many states government have tourism calendar is important. I would add tourism master plan. As a tourism professional, you need a tourism master plan. Tourism master plan encompasses all the points we have been talking about. Thank God we have a tourism master plan at the national level, because I saw a reason to go to the World Tourism Organization in Spain. They were ready to help us work together to achieve and get a national tourism master plan for Nigeria. And the executive secretary then was Dovillier. I became a friend of Dovillier. Is it English that I cannot speak? What can I communicate with? So he saw me as a friend. Oh, Tayo, you're here again. Yes, I'm here because we've not finished. So we must be deliberate.
Right. As we wrap up this conversation very briefly, with all that we've talked about today, are you positive that indeed there is a future for tourism in Nigeria?
Oh, more than positive. Or else I wouldn't have put all the things I put in the years past. And even now, I'm still promoting tourism from the private sector. So more than positive. What we need to do is what we've been talking about. Let each state governor take tourism by the jugular. By the jugular. Don't leave it to the president. President cannot be doing tourism for state governments. So when they say Nigeria is not tourism ready, insecurity is battling Nigeria, I don't know how President Tinubu will succeed. That's negative thoughts. I don't go with negativities. I go with the positivities. State governors must take the bull by the horn. A good thing, as I said, Lagos State has started tourism, local government tourism committees, we call it. We had it at that time. But because there is no continuity,
So we just need
that's
to
why
build.
most of the states don't have it now. They should have it. With the local government tourism committees, the tourism we're talking about from the grassroots, from domestic tourism, will develop. And they will be in synergy with the ministry in charge of tourism in each state. The ministry will be in synergy with tourism practitioners like us. We will work together with the Federal Office of Statistics for the data that you need for us to know how much is impacting on GDP. And then they will be in synergy with the national. We'll get there.
We will definitely get there. I know, with this passion and tenacity from, of course, Mrs. Omotayo, Omotosho herself, and of course, state governors, definitely tourism has the huge potential for the future. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us on the program today. It's been a delight chatting with you.
You're welcome, Bimbola. It's been a beautiful thing being here. And thank you, Joy.
Okay, so we've been speaking with Mrs. Omotayo Omotosho, MFR, a former Director General of the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, and she shared her thoughts with us on the program today on how much the richness of the tourism potential Nigeria has, and how we all can be part of the change agent. And of course, just a final word from, what she said, that we all, that is where, we all can be part of this, all part of this.
Yeah.
Speak positively about Nigeria. At least if you do not do anything, be positive about the country, Nigeria. Again, thank you for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
We'll take a quick break. The conversation returns shortly.